Hey guys, Andy here, and today we have our July palette ranking. These are coming back for July. Duh, I said that. I ended up using 11 palettes in the month of July, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about them and rank them. Since I have my pile of shame palettes, I figured I would bring my palette rankings back, because if I'm using a bunch of different palettes, then we're gonna talk about them and rank them. My band-aid. I have a pimple randomly on the center of my chest, so if you see that, it is a pimple patch. Otherwise, everything I'm wearing will be listed in the description box down below, and as always, if you like makeup unboxings with a little bit of horror sprinkled in, please consider subscribing, as I would love to have you here. Let's just go ahead and get into the ranking. Alright, so in spot number 11, we have my Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This is the palette that I did a palette bingo with my friend Amy. This is the color story here, if you don't know. For me, let's see, what did I put? The reason why this is reaching spot number 11 is I just think that this palette is expired. The mattes don't perform like they used to when I got this palette. Mind you, I did get this palette secondhand, so I don't know how long the person that I bought it from had it for. They could have had it from when it originally came out. But the shimmers, like, I'm going to swatch a couple of them for you, because I'm not going to swatch every color of every palette, but the shimmers in this palette are still so pretty, which is why I want to keep it. Here, I'll swatch these three. So we have Luscious, Bless Her Heart, and Peach Pit. But, like, the mattes just do not perform. But look at those. Like, those are still beautiful. So it's one of those things, like, are these shimmers unique enough to my collection to warrant keeping the palette? It does still smell like peaches. Faintly, though. Like, the smell is going away. For right now, because we'll see what happens when I do my end of the year declutter, but for right now, of course, I'm going to keep it. But that's why this one's ranking in spot number 11. My look did come out fine, but just the mattes are losing their buttery smooth texture that they once had. In spot number 10, we have my Pan That palette, which is the Huda Beauty New Nude. And this is what the color story looks like. Little spoiler alert, we have extra pan. Like, I'm just working on completely finishing this shade, but no new pans. The reason why this is ranking in number 10, it's just because it's getting stale. I tried a bunch of new palettes this month, so the fact that I've been working on this for 7 months now, it's gonna rank lower in all of my rankings, most likely, just because I've been using it the whole year. But it's a beautiful palette. I'm still enjoying it. I've been really happy with my progress, so it's gorgeous. But I can only get like 4 looks out of this palette. A light purple, a dark purple, a light pink, and a dark pink. And that's about it. So, you know, it's beautiful and I do like it, but that is what it is. In spot number 9, we have from ColourPop. And this is the Honey palette. This is what mine looks like. I'm almost done with that pressed glitter. And I just wish this palette had a little more depth. Like, this brown doesn't go deep enough for me. And I just wish it had a little bit more variety. Like, these two yellows, even though I know they look very different in the palette, they're very similar on the eyes. And again, like, these two shades, I know they look very, very different. And this does give a little bit more depth on the eyes, but they're the same tone. And I know this is a monochromatic palette, but their other palettes tonally give you a little bit more variety. And I love this brown. I love that it's a yellow-based brown. I just wish it was a little darker to give us just a little bit more depth. So that's why this one's ranking in number 9. I still love it so very much. Like, my writing is rubbing off because this was my first ColourPop palette I ever bought. But yeah, I just, you know, stuff gotta rank somewhere. The palette that I'm wearing today will be in August's ranking, but it's the Profusion Harvest palette. It'll be listed down below, but I just wanted to shout it out because I feel so badass with the green hair and the green look. In spot number 8, we have from Milani. This is the Ungilded Most Loved Mattes, which, of course, is an all matte palette. It looks like this. And for me, the reason this is ranking where it is simply just because it's an all matte palette. It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous, silky formula, but it's a perfect companion palette. And yeah, I do really enjoy it, but that's why it's ranking where it is, just because it's all matte. So if you're looking for an all matte palette, that is absolutely wonderful, and I highly recommend it, but I like some shimmers. In spot number 7, we have from Jeffree Star. This is the Conspiracy palette. This was his collab with Shane Dawson. And this is the color story here. I did a palette bingo by myself where I just wanted to like randomize some shades. And I got a very interesting look. I think it ended up being, it was the mint, the red, the black, and then I think the white shimmer and Illuminati, I believe. But I know it was the red, the black, and the mint, and I was like, and then I got the white, but I don't remember that last shade. But for me, the reason this is ranking where it is, it's a great formula. I do love it. And the look turned out fine. But every time I open this palette, besides this yellow, because I love this yellow, it is neon, and it is pigmented, and it is beautiful. And I love the inner corner highlight, and I love this weird green. But everything else, when I open this palette, I'm just like, I don't know what I want to do. I feel like it's very haphazard. Of course, we have a row of neutrals, because it seems like Jeffree can't make a palette without a row of neutrals. And then the other 2 rows just feel very haphazard to me. And it also gives me, like, here, if you just look at this, does that not give you Beauty Killer 2 vibes? Just saying. But loved it, so it is what it is. In spot number 6, we have the ColourPop on Cloud Blue palette, which looks like this. And see, like, this one has depth. It has different tones. This is a fully thought out monochromatic palette, in my opinion. And it goes from very light to very deep. And I think that you can get a very nice range of looks. And this pressed glitter is to die for. I love their pressed glitters. I know not everyone's a fan. But also, this icy blue shimmer, to die for. And I've just always been a fan. Like, ColourPop does blues very well. So, love it. In spot number 5, rounding out the top 5, is my big old kaleidoscope from Profusion. And the reason this is ranking number 5 is simply because I've used it a bajillion times, and the top 4 palettes are all brand new palettes that I've used. So this is a trusted, tried and true, which is why it's still in the top 5. But the top 4 are just new to me. Well, new palettes that I tried this month. Spot number 4 is the Makeup Revolution and Fortnite. This is the Supply Llama palette. So, we have 3 true mattes. It's this one, and this one. The mattes, beautiful. They go on nice and pigmented, and they blend out great. I love them. We have one, I stuck my hand in that. Oops. We have one, like, textured shimmer, this one. It is absolutely stunning on the eyes. Like, if grape soda was a shimmer, that is what this looks like on the eyes. But it's just a little dark for me. I don't really like super dark shimmers, but it is very stunning. So I know I will get use out of it. Now, here's my one complaint, which is why this one ranked lower than the other Makeup Revolution palette. The other shades, the other 5, the satins, there is no shimmer to them. Here, let me swatch some of these. They perform, and like they're gonna swatch very, very nicely. But on the eyes, there is no shimmer. They perform like mattes. I even tried building them up, and they just So that's 3 of them. That minty one has a little bit of shimmer. I did end up putting that one on my lower lash line, and I got the tiniest bit of shine. But overall, I almost said shimmers. The satins perform as mattes. So if you're looking at it that way, you get 1 shimmer and 8 mattes in the palette. Beautiful formula, and it performs phenomenally, but that's just a little disappointing, in my opinion. So for spot number 3, we have the other Makeup Revolution palette I tried, and this is with the Beetlejuice collab, and this is the I Myself Am Strange and Unusual. Now this one is a completely different formula than that one. Holy effing pigment. So we have 4 mattes. It is these 3 in the pink. So if you've ever tried Acebeaute's formula, that is what this makes me think of. You need 1 dip, and like, it's like half a dip. A little just boop, and they're so pigmented. Like, I'll swatch this pink and the black. Okay, that black was a bad one. Hang on. It's gonna make me a liar. But like, look at that pink. And see, now for this palette, I still get the same thing with the satins, that they're more like mattes, but I do get more of a shine from these ones than I do the other palette. So as you can see, we get a little bit more shimmer, but they do just perform more like mattes. So that would be my one complaint with this palette, is that, like, if I was going to use it, I very much would need to pull in my own shimmers, which I have so many single shadows is not a problem for me, but gorgeous. I wish this one had a more textured shimmer like the Fortnite one had, but otherwise, now we're just splitting hairs. I really thought I was going to be ranking this one number 1. This is the ABH Riviera palette, which looks like this. And this is, I'm so mad that I've just had this sitting around for a year and I haven't tried it, because this is phenomenal. The mattes, they're a little powdery, so like there's some kick up, but they go on really nicely and they're very, very blendable. And the shimmers make me think of ColourPop Super Shocks. Like, they're just absolutely stunning. My only little caveat is I wish it didn't have a matte white. I wish there was 1 more shimmer. Like, if you needed to include this matte white, then, like, you could have gotten rid of this peach. I don't think we needed both, and I'm mad that we didn't get 1 more shimmer. That's my only complaint about this palette, because it is just so good. I smacked the back of my hand on, like, my door frame earlier, and it is so sore. So, like, removing my swatches with a makeup wipe is kind of hurting. So if I do any other swatches, I'm gonna do them on this hand. And in spot number 1, we have another one from Jeffree Star, and this is the Pink Religion palette. I did both of my Barbie looks using this palette. This is the Color Story. I did one that was more pink and one that was more purple. And it's just, I really do love Jeffree's formula. I do get everything from him secondhand. I tell you guys that every time, because he's garbage and I don't want him profiting off of me. But if other people have already paid for his products, cool. I will take them off your hands, because I do really like his formula. But let me swatch the shimmers. That's my only complaint about Jeffree. Like, I would love just an all shimmer palette. Like, give me a rainbow all shimmer palette, because I love his shimmer formula. And there's never enough shimmers. There's the 3 shimmers that are in this palette. That's all we get. I just said I was going to swatch them on the other hand, and I did not. These wipes are so fragranced. They're, green apple? Yeah, green apple. And they're just intense. Every time I grab one, I'm, like, bombarded with green apple. But that's my only complaint with this palette, is I wish there was, like, 1 or 2 more shimmers. Like, ugh. But even just the packaging on this one, like, I know some people think I'm holding it like a child. I know some people think Jeffree's packaging is gaudy, but like, I love it, to be honest. But that is my 11 palettes that I used for the month of July. Let me know. I will be inserting photos if I can. You would have seen them already. Of the looks that I created with these palettes, because I know you guys asked for that more when I'm reviewing like rounding up palettes, which thank you, because not everybody is going over to my Instagram and seeing the looks that I'm doing with these palettes. Got you guys. But otherwise, I do have one question. Let me know in the comments below. Would you guys like to see like 1 week, 1 palette, where I take, a palette and do a full week of looks with it? And if so, would you like it just where I show the looks and then talk about the palette in a review? Do you want the tutorials and then a review? I just, with my pile of shame palettes, they're new to me. So I would love your feedback on that in the comments down below. And then any other questions, comments, concerns you have for me, leave them down there, because I love talking with you guys. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.